Yo, what's good people? Welcome back to this channel. So, just a quick one today. I did the, what's it called? Revolution. Carina's challenge not too long ago, a few days back. And yeah, thought I'd make a quick video just to share some of my thoughts about the path I chose and the fights. I'll get into some of the problem fights kind of as they come up. But yeah, first of all, the path. So my team for this path, and I went with the masochism path, which is pretty much the path that most people go for. Scouting around the rest of the paths in the quest, it seems like only I think it's tenacity path is potentially like another viable one that people have been going with. And for me, it just looked like a more problematic one, just a lot of not knowing if your parry's going to stick, etc. There's an annihilus on that path, and I think maybe one other potential problem fight. So for me, I just felt like the problem fights on this path with masochism were going to be easier to deal with and kind of anticipate as well, having had a quick look at some other people's streams. So getting into the path itself, I had a team of rank 2 6-star Thor Ragnarok, who was about 660. Then I had a rank 1 gladiator Hulk, 640 I think, also a 6-star. And then yeah, the rest of the team I just filled with I think 5-star variations of Hulk Ragnarok, korgs, and I think maybe another Thor Ragnarok or something like that. But yeah, essentially all the heavy lifting was done by Thor Ragnarok and a couple of fights with Gladiator Hulk. Yeah, so in terms of the breakdown of these fights, the two I took with Gladiator Hulk were the Scarlet Witch and the Dormammu. Everything else was Thor Rags. Now in terms of revives, it cost me about 13 revives for the entire run. 2 to Green Goblin, just pushing him into special 3 once, and then also not dexing his special 2 properly on another. I think, yes, then it was 5 to the Warlock and 6 to the Grandmaster. Those 5 against Warlock, like 3 of them were just eating his heavy, which I'll get to when I speak about him. In terms of what it leaves on the Grandmaster, you can see there it's left the inflation link up, and essentially what that means is he has higher attack throughout the fight. But you also get higher attack with when you've got him in his wounded phase, essentially. Well, getting into some of the problem fights. So Green Goblin, I died a couple of times, but like I said, those were just sloppy, eating his special 3 because I pushed into it, and then also a special 2 which I just didn't time the dex on. Easily avoidable, and Thorax really does smash a lot of the paths, so nothing too much to say about that one. Now for the Dormammu, you can see I got a nice clean solo with Gulk. Well, sorry, a nice solo with Gulk, far from clean. But essentially there, the main thing to watch out for is just, I found I lost a lot of health from trying too hard to kind of keep the heal blocks and time it right with masochism. So trying to trigger that by parrying and then get the special 1 thrown on him to get the heal block up. And it was a lot of just trying to manage that, which was really slowing the fight down. And of course, the longer a fight goes on, the more likely you are to make mistakes. So that one, I ended up just kind of aborting that plan of trying to keep the heal block up and just didn't parry. I would just block bait heavies into getting my openings, or just get some intercepts, getting him against the wall and kind of chaining 3 or 4 hit combos. Dexing the special 1 because it was fine. The passive degen on me, Gulk, deals with that. He has the abilities, it's in his abilities. To heal, I think 70% of it. So yeah, pretty nice fight for Gulk. And yeah, I would say get into your groove kind of thing. If you want to try the special 1 heal block, getting that to stick and it works for you, great. But don't be fixated on it, because I found that really slowed that fight down for me, and that's where most of the mistakes were coming from. Fortunately, I recovered and got the solo, but yeah, one to watch out for there. Right, so next kind of problem fight, and basically one of the 2 big problem fights, the other one, of course, being the Grandmaster final boss, is the Warlock. This is the one that I've seen cause a lot of, other content creators on YouTube have problems, people who, have just spoken about their experience. This has been the fight that's really screwed a lot of people over on this path. So I figure, rather than try to create like some elaborate explanation on how to handle this fight best, there's just a few kind of key things to watch out for. So first of all, turn off willpower. If you run willpower, it's worth the few units to turn it off, because you're going to eat a lot of degen if you have it on. When he's throwing that special 2, for example, which you want to push him to, yeah, it's just those armor breaks on you are going to cause you to degen from willpower. So that's the first thing. The second thing, as you see there, is I had infection on me when I got to my special 3. We're about to loop round to another special 3, and you're going to see that near the time there's the what is it called? I think it's like Wrath of the Thunder Gods or something. Essentially the phase that you get all your damage in. Both times it doesn't trigger because of the ability accuracy reduction. So it is very, very important to try and consciously kind of time yourself and set yourself up to be able to let infection fall off and then throw your special 3. Or you're going to miss out on your damage phases, as you've seen there twice in a row happen to me. Very nice, we end on 69 hits. I didn't even plan that, I promise. Right, going into the next one. So that's kind of like the two of the 3 big things to watch out for, which is 1, turn off willpower, 2, make sure that you've let the infection fall off before you throw your special 3 and try to go into your big damage phase. And the third we're going to see coming up soon here is watch out for the heavy of death, essentially. I watched it happen. I think it was DLL stream I was on where I watched it happen to him a few times, and I thought, you know, look, like you can see here, we've got the heavy spacing down, it's all good. It's a really rapid heavy, but, you know, like, if you fought a Warlock before, or you've even used a Warlock, you know the reach of that heavy. You know, it's pretty easy to space out, you know, no problems here. But it can just catch you off, and at some point in this fight, it's just something worth keeping in the back of your mind. It's going to hurt if you get hit by it, essentially. And yeah, at this point, I'm probably just stalling because I feel like I should have, yeah, there we go. I was like, I should have been hit by it by now. There you go. So those are the 3 big things. Turn off willpower, make sure infection's fallen off before you throw your special 3, and watch out for that heavy of death there, because yeah, I lost 3 revives out of my 5 in a row, which are just that heavy. So there was that one, and then literally the two times I went in after that, I just instantly like 8 heavies. And yeah, had to reset my device afterwards and cool down the frustration of swearing and shouting at my screen. But yeah, but yeah. Anyway, that's definitely key things to watch out for on Warlock. Okay, so finally onto the Grandmaster boss. Yeah, all I've got to say for this fight really, not too much, but just really surprised actually by how well Thor Ragnarok did for this fight. It was quite satisfying, getting some decent damage in. Like I said, it took me 6 revives. I was just pretty out of practice with the fight. Took me a little while to kind of get into the rhythm of things, and then finally started doing some bigger damage as the fight went on, and I was, you know, getting more comfortable with the phases. Definitely in like my first few revives was just me overdoing it, trying to get too many intercepts and really stack up the competence in the first few phases. But yeah, no. Main things to note, obviously, is get yourself familiar with the Grandmaster fight again, kind of be aware of what's going on, look back over some previous footage of people doing it, look at other streams. Also be aware that with Thor Ragnarok, because from pretty much all of the fight, most of it, you're not going to be able to access your special 3, means you can't access the shocks on the Grandmaster, which means you can't inflict a damage effect when you get to the phase where that's one of the prompts. So that's a prompt that you're just going to have to accept you can't complete, and you have to take the blunder from it. But otherwise, you know, have your special 1 dexes, the Grandmaster special 1 that is, have that, you know, on point, so you can complete those missions and get the easy kind of 3 competence stacks. Yeah, other than that, it's just a Grandmaster fight, and yeah, a Thor Rags will have decent enough damage to get you through it without it being too painful. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that fight. As for the challenge as a whole, yeah, not bad at all. Didn't take me too long. It was actually fairly fun to do, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing like all the Karinas. I've still got 2 left from the first batch, which were the Star-Lord and Inhumans runs. Yeah, I just don't see myself doing those. Even from this one, the Abyss ones, well, they actually do look a lot more interesting than the Labyrinth ones from the last batch. I don't think I'm going to have the time to go grind the resources for them. And 7.4 is coming out, so that will probably be my focus on, you know, whatever resources I might need to get through that. Hopefully not too much, based on how X7's been so far. But yeah, I'd rather say for that, get that done, and that's something that can be kind of, yeah, much more fun to spread out in loads of short chunks, whereas, you know, those Abyss runs for the Karinas will take a while. But yeah, that will be it for this video. Hopefully you've learned a few tricks. If you haven't picked it up perhaps from other streams so far, hopefully you're enjoying the Karinas and all the content at the moment. Loving it, with Battlegrounds beta out at the moment as well. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in the game, so hopefully this will just help some people who may be planning to do this run. But yeah, until the next one, take care, and I'll see you then.